Okay, so personal share part two will be much shorter. And yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit more about the Dark Night. Yeah, I found this song or poem. I don't remember where I found it, by Roger Curley. I just wanted to read a little bit. I'm just taking some random paragraphs out of this very long song. Anyway, Dark Night of the Soul. It can be as if all the worst aspects of the Dark Night stages, because there's different stages and aspects of the Dark Night, converge for one last important lesson, that of reobservation. Like, yeah, you've dealt with all of this, but we're going to look at it all again, all at once. We must perceive the true nature of these sensations that make up our ideas of perfection and all the ideals we cling to, all the images of how the world should and should not be, all desires for anything to be other than exactly the way it is, as well as all the desires for awakening to be anything other than what is going on. And of course, I mean, that the suffering that I was experiencing, saying, my God, have you forsaken me? That is, of course, it was my desire for my experience of life to be something that other than what it was, and that it wasn't matching my idea of perfection or what enlightenment should be, and that my awakening should look like this other person's awakening. Yeah. So that's why you're like, why have you forsaken me? Why am I not getting the pearly lights and whatever? Anyway, um, I'm continuing with this person's song. It says, one of the hallmarks of the early part of this dark night is that we begin to clearly see exactly what our minds do all day long. We see with great clarity. And that is so accurate. Because your identification has absolutely shifted to awareness, you can see, and in the beginning you see things clearly, but what's happening now for me is that not only am I seeing things clearly, I'm seeing things in real time. Like, you're bumping along in life, and you say you're doing the dishes, and you suddenly like, oh, I forgot something, and you got to reach something, and it's like totally unconscious, right? My awareness is getting so sharp that I'm stopping myself in mid movement, thinking, who just remembered that? Who just thought to do that? Or say I'm preparing dinner or just actually taking a bite, and suddenly I'm going, who is doing this? Who is hungry? Who is eating? And just today I was eating a little salad, and I was resting in this absolute absent space. It's weird. And like, the sensations of the food were completely different. So weird. But also the clarity to be so, I don't know, so aware. There have been a couple of times where I witnessed the mind pulling up a false belief that was beginning to bring suffering on. And in that moment, real time, I stopped it. I did whatever, said no, and just let it come into me. And it literally burned it away out of the subtle body, because I could feel the heat rising, and I could feel the heat in the subtle body burn it away in real time. And that happened a couple of times. So to talk about the clarity, to have the awareness to say, oh yes, I see that coming up, and I'm actually going to say no to that because that's causing me suffering. And now I'm going to bring it into the real me and burn it away. I mean, wow, that was shocking. Sorry if I'm looking over there, but because I have my screen down there. Anyway, so let's move on. Going back to the song. This stage is a profound opportunity to see clearly the pain of the dualistic aspect aspects of our attachments, our aversions, those things that we don't like, our desires, hope, fears, and ideals. Let me see here. As our awareness of all this has been amplified to an unprecedented level. Absolutely, exactly what I was talking about. Then he sort of ends it with saying, try to navigate the dark night with panache, dignity, self-respect, decency, gentleness, poise, and if possible, a sense of humor, which often seems to be the first thing to be sacrificed at its bloody altar. Once again, by Roger Curley. Those were bits and pieces. Anyway, he couldn't be any more absolutely correct. Okay, so now let's move on. And I just want to recommend, so when I was going through this, like, what am I doing? So I wanted to share with you internally what I was feeling and still feeling like my thing to do right now where I'm at is to do nothing, to just sit and do nothing. I mean, that's what was going on inside of me, but ego mind, which was creating a lot of suffering, was like, no, you got to be doing something, like do something, get off your ass and do something. It was making me feel guilty for sitting around and wanting to contemplate or whatever. And yeah, it was driving me crazy. And then this back and forth, I was like, what is going on? I can't do this anymore. And of course, I don't know what, I must have been on Amazon. It was whatever. I don't know how it came up. Oh, I was going to order a book that someone recommended, and I wasn't feeling like, I was like, okay, I'll get this book. But of course, this book pops up by this author, and it's called, anyway, this author, this man, I think I'm going to have a mentorship with him, but he is resting in truth. I am so deeply in awe of this person. I feel the truth. It just hits me. First of all, he confirmed everything that is going on in me, and the ahas that I've come to, it confirmed everything, and it just settled everything down. Anyway, he's got quite a few books, but the book, this is the God State, Turiya, the God State. The pen name on this one is obviously SantataGamana. That's just one pen name. He's got a whole series of books. I highly recommend this book. It's talking about, self-realization, and he talks about the different levels of integration of Turiya, or the God consciousness. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, truth. This is pure truth, clearly written. I can't recommend him and his series of books enough. And then he just released his other book. I think probably it's his autobiography, Liberation, but he goes by a different name. His other name, I can't see, Av Neryah, I can't say it, but you can see it. Oh my God. This is like, autobiography of Yogananda. I mean, the experiences are phenomenal. But when he starts talking about his own awakening, realizing the truth in this book, it's there. It's written so clearly, so easily. It's an easy read. The chapters are short, they're delightful. I just cannot say enough about this book. And now, granted, it's very fantastical, but some people just have fantastical journeys. But he confirmed, it was like I was having the experience, and then I'd read the next chapter and it'd be like, oh my God, he just explained what's happening. So yeah, Liberation and the series of books by SantataGamana, they're all the same author. Get these books, pure truth oozing out of these pages. I think actually probably aided in shifting me a little bit, and just, yeah. And you know, and I have to just kind of pat myself on the back, because everything that I was feeling, and even teaching to other people in the past privately, you know, about surrendering and no need for all these techniques and things like that, completely confirmed it. So I have to, you know, I really have to kick myself in the ass and let go of this lack of self-confidence and self-doubt, because I do know what I'm talking about. And there has been an awakening here. There is deep wisdom. I'm just not settled enough in it to really, well, I don't know, talk about it clearly enough, but I'll get there. But, you know, speaking about those groups, the Saturday group that I want to start, like, you know, I've been doing this thing on my own, really just learning from books that come to me and trying figuring it out on my own, not really having any, I'm no teacher to really go to. Yes, I've had a healer teacher, but just confirming, anyway, confirming what I already knew. But this is the importance of having another person along the way, like to talk to confirm with, to confirm what you're feeling, to say, yeah, everything you're doing, everything right, it's all okay what you're experiencing. That's what I hope to promote, or the reason for those Saturday groups. So all right, that's it. I know, thank God I'm done. Okay, bye.